Welcome everyone to the Western Wisconsin Journal. I'm Kendra Grams, the pastor at First Presbyterian Church, and back to host another conversation with some local partners doing great work in our community. So today I am honored to be with Cindy Leonard and Ken Corbett, who are the co-founders of the Sharing Tree. So let's start with introductions, maybe for Cindy and then over to Ken. Introduce yourself and give us the quick, what is the Sharing Tree for those that don't know?
I'm Cindy and co-founded the Sharing Tree with Ken and our three kids in 2002. The Sharing Tree is a school supply program for students in need who attend schools in Hudson and Somerset school districts and their educators.
Great. Well, so Ken, maybe introduce yourself and then tell us a little bit more about, since it started kind of a family's affair, how that happened and how it grew from there.
Yeah, we have been doing it for a long time. We started, as Cindy said, we started as a family. We're no longer married, but we're still running the Sharing Tree with our kids and with a number of other volunteers. But it really has germinated into a pretty significant, I think, nonprofit in what we do. Just school supplies for a population that seems to be, the need seems to be growing significantly every year. And, you know, we started out doing 21 backpacks and school supplies back in 2002, and now we're doing between 400 and 500 or more every year. And it's, to me, I'm honestly pretty amazed that it keeps going. I mean, a lot of that, I'll say, is thanks to Cindy, because she puts a lot of time in as the executive director. I'm president of the board, which is a title, but we do have board members who are volunteers. We have volunteers who are not board members, and we've had people who have been involved for a long time, and that just, I mean, it speaks to me, it speaks to the mission that we have and that people believe in and are willing to put a lot of time in. It is seasonal. You know, this is coming up in our busy time, but we've also expanded it over the years. We started out in Hudson and made some connections in Somerset and have been able to do that. To be honest, we have talked about over the years trying to plant new organizations or new branches in other towns. We don't have the capability to do it because we just don't have the bandwidth or the funds or anything. But if we could get River Falls, Baldwin, you know, any other towns where, or school districts where volunteers are willing to step up and maybe get something going, that would be great too. But I think we're really happy with what we are able to do in Hudson and Somerset.
Yeah, and that sounds like a lot that you already do, but clearly you see a growing need in other communities. So maybe go back to the beginning and tell me a little bit of the spark of the need that you saw that got it all going.
It's a kind of a great story, honestly. The Sharing Tree was a school supply program that was in every school district in the state of Minnesota. And we were living in Minnesota, in St. Paul. And they did it a lot like we managed the Sharing Tree. Either the Sharing Tree is going to buy supplies for their students, or individuals like us, we sponsor students. And so Ken and I and our three kids, we would each get 3 tags for the Sharing Tree. And then every year when we were buying supplies for our kids would choose supplies, school outfits for the students that we sponsored. We moved to Wisconsin in 94. I was still volunteering. Then I began volunteering with the Sharing Tree and was sitting at the old Herberger Mall that was in Stillwater. And doing my shift, and their custodian came up and said, hey, I have 3 applications for my 3 sons. And I said, absolutely, here they are. He went off to do his job on his break, filled out the apps, brought the apps back, and he lived in Hudson. And the Caring Tree does only serve Minnesota residents. And I was heartsick. And I was a mom of 3 kids myself. And so that connection, and I said, we can't help you this year. I said, this program will be in Hudson the next year without consultation. And that's how our Sharing Tree was born in 2002, modeled after the Caring Tree model in Minnesota, but to serve the community where we had made our roots in Hudson. Yeah. And it's been going ever since 2002.
Yeah, so now we fast forward and tell us then, you said it's the busy season, which I can attest. I'm a parent. I just ordered some school supplies myself, so I'm sure you're ramping up for the next year. So tell us a little bit about that cycle of how you take in and discern what the needs are, who needs what, collect and distribute. How does that work?
I can take a little bit of it, and then Cindy, you can fill in. Because we've come a long way. It used to be an extremely manual process. And when we first started out, we replicated the Sharing Tree model where individuals or families would sign up their individual students, and we would try to find a sponsor, or we would buy the specific school supplies that they needed. And we initially started out also buying one clothing outfit and so on. That has fallen by the wayside because we didn't have the time or money to continue that, but we have focused on the school supplies. But it was a manual process in trying to maintain confidentiality of the students. Cindy would be copying the information from the registration card onto another card, and then we would have shoppers that we might have sponsors for a particular student or family, and we would give them the needs. They would go out and buy a backpack and buy all the supplies and bring them back to us. Anonymously, yeah, it's all anonymous. But then for all the ones who aren't sponsored, we would tabulate. We, again being Cindy, would tabulate we need X number of 1-inch binders, X number of pencils, glue sticks, everything that was there. We did it manually. And all the registration process was via mail, and the Sharing Tree would mail out reminder postcards and all kinds of information like that. We have moved into the next century. Our daughter has developed an online registration system. We're doing it in English and Spanish, and so most of it happens that way. Also built the back-end spreadsheet and the inventory of all the supplies that we have and that we need for the year. And so it's really come a long way. And it had to, because to do 450 to 500 students.
That's a lot of school supplies.
It's a lot of school supplies.
Yeah, so what then, ballpark, how much is given in kind or in cash donations to cover those? Or do you still have any that want to sponsor a family, or have you moved away from that entirely? Just these are the items we need, for instance.
Right. Like Ken said, our numbers are so huge now. I think we served 460 students last year. Right now, today, we're sitting at 158 already registered, and we're middle of June right now. So we didn't want to give that sponsorship away because we still have families that want to do this every year. And they enjoy it, but to be honest, it is 10. It is 10 students a year, and the rest are bought through grant writing, individual donations to people that support us, but also we have a 2-week school supply collection in Hudson and in Somerset that helps in the in-kind process. And I believe we got, and this is remarkable, I think last year's numbers were about $4,000 in in-kind supplies, because we do calculate that. It helps for our budget projection, because we may not get that this year. So it helps us to do that planning, and a lot of that kind of number crunching is really thanks to our treasurer, Mark Steffen. He's also the one that developed our inventory spreadsheet. that has really helped us to be very efficient and to really know where we stand fiscally as well. But yeah, we do rely on in-kind supplies. We really appreciate it, and the sponsorships, and we know how much joy that gives the sponsors who do reach out to us every year that want students to buy supplies for.
Great. So for those that are interested in supporting it, where, maybe start with, if they want to give in kind, do you have a few details or where they could go to find more information about in-kind donations?
Sure. That's at our website, thesharingtree.org. And there's a link that says donate, and we do have our school supply list there. The local banks, credit unions, retailers, churches who are going to be having collections for us, they will also be listed as they come on board. I think we only have 4 right now. So that will be happening in July. We try to coordinate that with the school supply sales because that makes it more affordable too. When mom, dad, or are seeing that how much crayons cost, if they're buying them on sale, it's easier to put an extra box in their shopping bag. So that's how we try to tie the timing of that together. But all that information is at our website.
Great. And so most of those boxes are out the later part of July into early August.
July 21st to August 2nd this year.
Got it. Great. And I assume at that website you can also give cash or monetary donations.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Preference.
Absolutely.
Right. What about volunteers? Is there a volunteer need to help sort all that, or do you already have a good crop of volunteers?
We can give you the process. I would like to recognize Wisconsin Credit Union.
Oh, yes.
They have been an incredible supporter for us over the years. We used to do all of this out of our living room. And
so you gave up your living room for a while.
Essentially, yes.
And the ping pong table to our children, our kids' dismay.
Yes.
During the summer months
during
anyway.
The summer. But we started working with the credit union, I think because of your connection with coffee.
Yes.
Right? And they have given us a storage room in the basement of their building that we keep our inventory in throughout the year now, which is absolutely incredible because we were trying to find some places to store it, carrying it in and out and doing all that kind of stuff. And they are probably one of the foundations of our of the whole mission, because they give us that storage. They allow us to have our process is registration happens either online, or I don't know if it's only online now.
Our registration?
Yeah.
Yeah, or phone calls we do get phone calls from families, from teachers, et cetera, yes.
Yeah. And so we get the registrations, Mark and Cindy and the team translate that into our inventory needs. We have people who go out and shop, and they really are economical. And we're really good stewards of the donations that we get because they get everything on sale. And after, in October, November, we're getting closeouts and anything we can get that we anticipate a need for it, they go out and get it. Then we have you mentioned, Kendra, volunteers. We have a school supply bundling night, we now call it. It used to be backpack stuffing, and I have to get that out of my mind. But that's where for each child, each student, they identify their school, their grade, and gender. And we have volunteers who then go around and pick up the supplies that they need for that particular student in their teacher, their class. And we put those in a grocery bag, and then we have and that happens on a Monday night in August.
August 11th, and we still have 9 slots open for volunteers.
Good.
For that night. Yeah. It is super fun.
It sounds super fun.
The slots go fast.
I'm sure they do.
And that's where we put together, 400 to 500 bags of school supplies. We used to select a backpack and put the supplies in a backpack. And then we would have we used to have our distribution night, we call it, down in the basement of the credit union. Since COVID, And we have moved that to the outside, just to the parking lot. And it's been actually a convenient initiator for that change, COVID was, because we're just too big to have all those people come downstairs anymore.
Definitely.
But what we experienced was some of the kids would come in and not be happy with the backpack they got. Oh, I see that one over there. So we've changed that, and we put the backpacks out.
Yeah.
We give them their bag of school supplies, and then they go to pick out their own backpack. And that's, I'll say, pretty rewarding to see, because the families really appreciate the school supplies. The kids really appreciate the opportunity to pick out a backpack and get something that they like, and that's been really cool.
Absolutely.
It's something that Ken and I think, have realized, and perhaps volunteers that we've had every year that come to school supply bundling night, because it is a blast. And I might get a little teary-eyed here, because some of the families who we've served, they don't ever get to go school supply shopping and pick out, maybe they want a pencil case that is a certain color, or their favorite TV show, and they they only get their school supplies from coming to the Sharing Tree. So when we brought in the opportunity to be able to choose their own backpacks was so huge, and just to give them some sense of a shopping experience, it's just, that's a huge thing. I'm so glad that we instituted that. And that was from what Ken said, was observing the process, that maybe a girl doesn't like My Little Pony. Maybe she wanted a Tonka truck backpack.
Yeah, you never know.
And we didn't know,
different.
but we were making assumptions, and now they get to choose whichever one they want.
Yeah, that's great. Well, so for families, and all kinds of things happen. So tell us, is it open registration? Are there any qualifications, or is it really sign up if you need help? And how does that work?
That's it.
Yep.
From the very beginning, we recognize that in order to prove, to qualify for services, a lot of times families have to prove that they fall within that poverty line, and the paperwork and follow-up and all of that. We just did not want that to be an issue, and it is, when we were paper and pencil, it was a front page, that was it, registration, and now it's all online. It could not be more efficient, and registration is open now until July 31st for families. There is no qualification at all, other than attending schools in Hudson and Somerset school districts, but we won't say no, because we sometimes get walk-ups on distribution night. Sometimes we'll get a family that lives here who maybe goes to a school in Woodbury, and they sign up for supplies. Well, what I do first is I call the school, hey, do you have a program in place that I can hook this family up in? If they do, I let that family know, and if not, they will come to distribution night and get their stuff. We won't say no.
Yeah, because there's lots of different situations.
100%.
And whether it's year after year, or there's one year something happened, and those extra needs. So that's great.
And we realize there are some out there who are taking advantage of us, but we're okay with that, because 99.9% of the students and families that we serve legitimately need it, I shouldn't say and they're able to take care of that, the school supply need, and focus on other issues that they're faced with, and that's why we do it. And so we don't, as Cindy said, we don't have any qualifications. It's just if you sign up, we're going to do it. And we've had families who have benefited from, over the 25 years, come back, volunteer,
Absolutely.
sponsor students, and so we've we have really, I think,
Not just pay it forward.
it is a
100%.
pay it forward,
Yep.
and people enjoy it. People enjoy volunteering for us, whether it's on distribution night or school supply bundling night, doing the shopping, doing everything else that we do, and then the recipients really, I think, appreciate it. The Cindy shares with us, with the board members, the thank you notes and acknowledgments that we get for the sharing tree, and it's really it's meaningful to us because we can see the impact that it has. And this part, I'm going to say on my behalf, I don't have to put that much time in to get this all going. I do put some time in. Cindy puts a lot of time in to keep all of the wheels in motion and do what we do. But we're able to do it over the time that, this period with a lot of volunteer help and really make a difference. And then I do want to talk about our teacher replenishment program also.
Yeah, that was the last thing I was going to follow up on.
Oh, okay.
Is you mentioned educators. You're supporting educators too, right? So tell us about that piece, because I live with a teacher. I know teachers spend lots of money on lots of random things. So what's that piece, and how did that piece come about for you guys?
A few years ago, pre-COVID, a dear friend of ours started having a holiday party and fundraiser for the Sharing Tree, and we found ourselves with some surplus in monies at the end of our budget, our service year, which is, pretty much ends in September. And we, as a board, just brainstormed, and we decided, what do teachers do? Teachers, number one, they probably don't get enough money to supply their classroom. And when they don't, what do teachers do? Teachers use their own money to buy the supplies, if not for themselves, and then for their students who may be arriving, ill-equipped. But now pretty much teachers and social workers are calling us, but for their classroom. And I believe as a result of that consistent fundraiser that we had with the Martys, we established, it's called the Teacher Supply Program. In January, we email the principals and teachers at all the schools in Hudson and Somerset, and they contact us. There's no online thing, they just email. Yeah. And I think we gave out over 4,000 in supplies to educators last year, and this year we're at over 3,000. Wow. And we don't make any demands on teachers to have to meet private schools. We've had requests from St. Pat's. If a teacher is asking, we're going to support them.
We're going to try.
Within
the bounds of what we can, and within the
Yeah.
types of supplies that we have available or we can get. Because what we initially started was a mid-year replenishment we talked about, where teachers who had supplies for the beginning of the school year in January, they're running low. Yep. So we started it there, and we expanded it to just call it a teacher supply program, so that this time of year, Cindy's really good about reaching out to the principals and to the teachers and other contacts, and just saying, we can help. We'll do what we can, and it's, I think, well, given the numbers, it's been pretty successful, and we truly believe, as Cindy said, that we don't want teachers to have to take money out of their own pockets to do stuff that it shouldn't be their responsibility. So we do what we can, and I think that's been a pretty effective program.
Well, thank you. It sounds like doing so much and keeps expanding, and as there's hopefully more volunteer support, the good work that you guys started so long ago can continue to grow. So before you go, one more time, what's the website to get the best information?
thesharingtree.org. Okay. And it's all up to date, and we really try to keep it up to date right now. And And again, there are 9 more slots for school supply bundling night, which is really a blast. It's like, we've had people say it's like shopping with other people's money, which is exactly what it is. And you can bring, it's adults and kids. We've had families come back, and participate in school supply bundling night as well. We have educators that come and help out too. It's really a good time.
Wonderful. So whether you'd like to donate, volunteer, or just need a little help with school supplies, sharingtree.org, and collections throughout the summer.
You can always collect. And you will find more information on the website about the dates and about where our collection bins will be. And I just also want to just mention to the Wisconsin Credit Union, who it is because of them that we've been able to grow.
Yes.
Really. It's been amazing. We're a completely volunteer-driven organization and really rely on the kindness of others. And Wisconsin really has stepped up. They've been integral to our mission.
Yeah,
that's great.
So the last plug I would like to put in is for if people see this and are interested in becoming board members or becoming more involved. Many of us who have been involved for a long time are aging. and a lot of our volunteers have been with us for a long time. And it would be helpful to us to be able to get some, let's say, some younger blood involved who can carry on the mission for, we intend to be involved for as long as we can. And other volunteers that we have, I think, feel the same way. But we are getting into our 60s and 70s and whatever. And so if people are interested, that'd be great.
Sounds like you'd be open to conversation.
Absolutely.
If their interest has been sparked.
Yes.
Right. Well, again, thank you for all you're doing, to your volunteers, to your board, to Wisconsin Credit Union. It sounds like lots of great collaboration to support our students and our educators.
Absolutely.
Which is great. So thank you to your both.
And thank you to your partner,
Yes.
who's an educator.
Thank you. And before we go, I want to thank the River Channel as ever for hosting us, and all of you for taking time to view and learn more about this important organization and their good work in the community. So until we're together again, may peace and wholeness be with you.